What was the biggest red flag on the first date that there wouldn't be a second date? I had a guy who looked at me like he was utterly transfixed and started basically implying how relieved he was to finally find the one. Not in so many words, but he was acting like you'd expect someone to act after his proposal had been accepted. Like, all loved up and somehow relieved? He drove me home and started singing some dumb country song with the line, "I've finally found a soft place to fall," whilst looking sidelong at me. I was freaked the fuck out. He didn't even know my surname. We'd made out one time. Tinder. Her profile said 24, I was 25. She turned out to be 17. For me it was when she mentioned that she was not single but did, in fact, have a husband, but it is okay because he has been in jail for about 5 years and will not be released for at least 6 months. Had a date once where things were going pretty well. As we're given the check, she asks my age, so I told her. I was 1 year younger than her, and she immediately facepalmed and said, "Oh, I didn't know you were younger than me." Not a red flag in a negative way towards her personality, but her reaction was all I needed to know there wouldn't be a second date. I might be late to this, but the worst first date I went on, we went for a walk on the beach, and he started commenting on the female lifeguards' bodies and saying how their body types are his favorite, how gorgeous they are, beautiful, etc., while I am walking right next to him looking nothing like these lifeguards. It was so awkward. We did not talk during the car ride back. Had a guy who insisted on buying the most expensive pizza at the restaurant despite my protests, then kissed my head when he walked past me to use the restroom. After dinner we walked along the waterfront, he kissed me and then immediately tried to choke me to be sexy. First date, last date. An actual statement, yeah, I don't drive, I don't work, and I have no intention of going back to school. So if this works out you would have to do everything. Including driving me places. Getting shit-faced drunk and throwing up in a street corner. I was ghosted after that. I met a guy on the internet, so we met for the first time for coffee. He had a black eye and a cut on his cheek, so I asked him what happened and he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "You look injured," and he said, "No, I'm not, everything is fine." They won't stop talking about themselves and what they've done and where they went to school and what job they have, etc., and never ask you any questions or let you speak. He told me I should learn to make better life choices because I'd bleached the bottom half of my hair in a 20-minute lecture about hair care. He suggested more than once that he'd be happy to help me find a hairstyle that suited me, as well as a few new outfits that would fit my figure better than what I was wearing. FYI, I'm aware bleaching my hair is bad for it. I bleached only the bottom half for that reason. He gave off very controlling, condescending, and straight rude vibes. No second date. Spend their time on the phone. She wouldn't stop talking about her last boyfriend. Not accepting no as an answer. If you tell him that you don't want a dessert and they give it to you, if you don't want a drink and they order it, things like that, if like he is checking your boundaries. He made me wait 2 hours for him and kept lying that he was almost there. I already bought my movie ticket and wasn't gonna change the time, so I decided to go by myself. He finally shows up halfway through the movie, then tries to do the over-the-shoulder move on me. Mentioning the ex numerous times over and over. Literal flags. My roommate went out with a guy that showed off pictures of his flag collection. He had the flag from every country in the world and wouldn't stop talking about them. He used to help his school with their Model UN, but they stopped letting him since he would keep interrupting with comments about flags. Things were going really well, then at the end of the date they leaned in for a kiss and sort of licked my mouth, then licked it again twice from the middle of my chin right up to my nose while holding me in a passionate embrace. Then they acted really normal, like this is how people kiss people. I had a first date where she started telling me who I was and wasn't allowed to spend time with or talk to when we were in a relationship. Not like I'm not cool with cheating, but like no women outside of work. No texts after 9 p.m. way. I'll pass. The guy told me that it was questionable that I was living with a male roommate and that he wanted me to move. Also lied about his nationality, probably because of a bad reputation they have with their neighbors, but that I wasn't even aware of at that point. Insulting my tattoo. Tried to look into my wallet as I was paying the bill, to make sure I wasn't poor. Inability to compromise. I have had people freak out at me because they won't let up on the smallest thing.